Welcome to Have You Read It, the channel where we bring books to life, one summary at a time. Today we're diving into Marisa Meltzer's Glossy, Ambition, Beauty, and the inside story of Emily Weiss's Glossier, a biography that unpacks the rise of Emily Weiss and her game-changing beauty company, Glossier. This isn't just a business story, it's a cultural commentary on millennial ambition, the evolution of beauty standards, and the power of the internet in shaping consumerism. The book opens by setting the scene at the Crosby Hotel, where Weiss is in tears during a conversation with Meltzer. This immediately establishes a sense of vulnerability and hints at the pressures and anxieties that lie beneath the surface of Glossier's seemingly effortless success. The narrative then rewinds to Weiss's early life in Wilton, Connecticut, painting a picture of a girl who always stood out from the crowd. One of Weiss's high school friends characterized her as, "Emily was a Manolo in a school full of Birkenstocks." Even her senior yearbook quotes, Calvin Coolidge on persistence and Graydon Carter on style, hint at her future ambitions. Weiss's early entrepreneurial spirit shone through ventures like breeding guppies and trying to sell them. She also had a Tiffany blue bedroom. She interned at Ralph Lauren and Teen Vogue, demonstrating a clear focus and drive from a young age. Her appearance on MTV's The Hills, while brief, provided a glimpse into her ambition and work ethic, setting her apart from the other reality stars. Amy Astley, the editor of Teen Vogue, notes how mature and self-assured Weiss was, interacting with her as an equal. The story progresses to the creation of Into the Gloss in 2010, Weiss's beauty blog. She was working as a fashion assistant at Vogue. Weiss saw a gap in the market for candid beauty reviews and intimate interviews, a space where beauty was treated as an integral part of style. Into the Gloss distinguished itself through its top-shelf column, offering voyeuristic peeks into the beauty routines of celebrities, models, and media personalities. Weiss's approach was democratic, emphasizing that every single woman is her own expert, and creating a sense of community around beauty. The blog's success stemmed from its authentic voice, useful recommendations, and its ability to make beauty feel accessible and personal. Weiss bought a used camera for $750 and a domain for intothegloss.com. She cold-called Carrie Diamond, an executive at Lancôme, about advertising every week for a month. By 2011, Into the Gloss had over 200,000 new users per month. The blog also molded the aesthetic of an era, the perfect shelfie and the associated status symbols, and more. The book then describes the founding of Glossier in 2014. To raise funding for Glossier, Weiss faced skepticism from investors, particularly male venture capitalists who struggled to understand the beauty market. Kirsten Green of Forerunner Ventures, however, saw Weiss's potential and invested in Glossier, marking a turning point for the company. Green appreciated that Weiss was curious about what she did and wasn't awkward about what she didn't know. Henry Davis of Index Ventures also recognized the potential of Glossier's direct-to-consumer approach, emphasizing the importance of brand commerce and customer engagement. Weiss envisioned Glossier as more than just a beauty company, but as a community-driven brand that prioritized customer input and authenticity. Weiss presented what she had to Green. Weiss knew she was onto something different and big with Into the Gloss. Weiss wanted to start raising money from established venture capital funds for this larger project beyond the editorial aspirations of Into the Gloss. She was seeking $1 million based on little more than a hunch. Thrive did not invest in the company right away, but would do one more thing: introduce her to Kirsten Green. Green agreed to invest $1 million in Glossier. In addition to Green, Ben Lehrer of Lehrer Hippo and her angel investors led Glossier with seed funding of $2 million. Meltzer details the initial product development of Glossier's Phase 1 collection. Weiss wanted to start out with skincare basics: a mist to prime the face, a light moisturizer, a salve that could be used on the lips or any particularly dry area of the body. The idea was that those three products would create a smooth surface on the face, filling in pores and texture, and it would finish with a very sheer skin tint to even out skin tone. Weiss collaborated with Alexis Page, her director of product development, to create skincare as makeup, focusing on sheer dewy finishes and a no-makeup aesthetic. The book shines a light on Glossier's early marketing strategy, which was built on Instagram and word-of-mouth recommendations from influencers and customers. From the beginning, there were issues with the skin tint. The first Glossier products came in a pink bubble wrap bag with a ziplock that was meant to be conspicuous. Glossier was trying to create a club where your affiliation with a brand indicated your tribe. A new employee might be met with a big hug, and whoever was the most free would walk them through a tour and onboarding paperwork. Weiss also hired Henry Davis as Glossier's chief operating officer, also in 2014. But Glossy doesn't shy away from addressing Glossier's missteps and controversies. Although it was on Instagram, Glossier began to build a community. The signature shade for Glossier was a light pink. She also drew some ire for her Little Wedding Black Book. The initial shade range of Glossier's skin tint was criticized for its lack of inclusivity, sparking conversations about representation and the brand's target audience. Her word choice on her post for announcing the launch of Glossier, where snobby isn't cool, happy is cool, also marked a crucial change for Weiss's self-presentation, and a choice that would impact the future of her fledgling brand and her own life trajectory. Another motto they use is, "Skincare is essential, makeup is a choice. Make good choices." We believe that being yourself and being honest and authentic sells, Weiss said. Meltzer also dives into Glossier's internal culture, highlighting the close-knit team, the emphasis on creativity, and the pressures of maintaining a hyper-curated image. The launch of Boy Brow was a success. Glossier secured a profile in the New York Times, but Weiss wouldn't let the writer see her personal top shelf. At Disrupt SF in 2018, she said Glossier was a psychographic rather than a demographic, and that it fundamentally made beauty products that were essential for everyone. The most obvious evolution was in Weiss's interests. She personally had invested in the CoStar astrology app and, in 2020, joined the board of the sustainable footwear brand Allbirds. Glossy sheds light on the more problematic aspects of the company, including accusations of a racist work environment and long work hours. Camp Glossier was meant to develop team spirit. Style-wise, she was going through a kind of grunge-chic, tomboyish phase. She cut her long brunette hair short, and then bleached it blonde and lived in rag-and-bone skinny jeans. Also, Weiss had a strong feeling of being in competition and a desire to one-up people. The book explores the concept of the girl boss, and how Weiss both embodied and resisted this label. The term girl boss was an unholy marriage of feminism and capitalism and meritocracy. The author analyzes the gender dynamics at play in the business world, where female leaders often face scrutiny and criticism that their male counterparts do not. Meltzer touches on the issue of likability, which is often a greater concern for women in leadership positions than for men. Meltzer also explores the company's expansion into retail and the challenges of translating its online success into physical spaces. The company, however, also suffered a setback when Allure published a story on Out of the Gloss. Weiss was hesitant to create physical stores since they relied so heavily on high-touch interaction and kinetic energy. Before she launched the storefronts, she toured stores with a retail consultant. What was she going to do with the staff? What did she want them to wear? How to sell products? There was a push to have everything perfect. It was a way for the company to test out a product. Customers want to be more open, see more, and want to connect with other customers. Then came retail pop-ups. After an event that had a lot of foot traffic, it would show on Glossier.com 2 weeks later. The book details Glossier's launch of Glossier Play, which was intended to be a satellite brand, and discusses what went wrong. Play's face glitter suggested the 1980s, and its gel liners echoed Urban Decay and Hard Candy, cult brands of the 1990s. The packaging was splashy, with items wrapped in foil packs, but it was also an environmental sticking point. The time frame for the March 2019 launch seemed untenable to those employees assigned to it. The long hours added to the overall feeling of doom. She was not as excited about the product launch. Meltzer highlights the importance of diversity and inclusivity within the beauty industry, analyzing Glossier's efforts in this area and the challenges it faced. Those challenges came at a critical time. The company was experiencing internal pressure amid increasing demands to take accountability for its corporate practices and the social impact of the brand. The most frequent complaints were a lack of representation on their social media, that the brand was mostly inclusive of slim white women who fit the prototype, which doesn't reflect the world or her customer base at large. Glossy delves into the internal culture at Glossier, where some employees noted salary disparities and a high-pressure environment. Some said they experienced racism, ageism, and fat phobia in the workforce. She looked at all the names that could signal change or diversity or inclusion. One major element in its culture was a no asshole rule. The book culminates in Weiss's decision to step down as CEO in 2022, handing the reins to Kyle Leahy. What did the future hold for the company? That was the question. Weiss was pregnant at the time, and also an election was happening. The company seemed to be in good hands. Weiss was known for a love of aesthetics and building a culture. After she hired an executive and shared the news, she sent out the message to everyone at Glossier to let them know who had been hired. Her team is ready to take on this challenge. During her interview with Glossy, Leahy stated that she is all about sustainable and profitable growth. To scale without sacrificing what is precious about what makes the brand Glossier is something that requires thoughtfulness and is doable. Meltzer concludes by reflecting on Weiss's legacy, portraying her as a complex figure who revolutionized the beauty industry while grappling with the pressures of leadership, the demands of social responsibility, and the ever-shifting landscape of the internet. The key takeaway from Glossy is that success in the modern business world requires more than just innovation and vision. It demands a commitment to ethical practices, inclusive representation, and a willingness to adapt to the changing needs and values of consumers. The need to connect with the core mission. Don't be afraid to make change. Create community. Show a bit of your behind-the-scenes and internal company workings to be more transparent with customers. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss our next book dive.